much do I love you, Andrew Lessman? How much do we love your today's special?
Oh,
you know we wait for this. Yeah. You've actually started to abbreviate some of the areas because it had such an amazing initial pre-launch. We
cut our midnight airing in half.
I know you did.
Because we want to make sure that we have enough to last the whole day. We just did a little preview of this in June when we were here several weeks ago. And we're a little ahead of ourselves, so hopefully if we're disciplined about the timing, we'll have plenty to last the whole day. Because this is our best pricing ever, the highest potency ever, the best cost per capsule, the best value ever. So it really is a chance, and we've doubled normally it's a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is ample time. But in reading some of the reviews, the comments in the reviews were saying that the first time I used it, I didn't give it long enough, or I wasn't taking it correctly, or I missed a few days, that I figured the only reason this product doesn't work, when you look at the almost unanimity, how unanimous the reviews are, over about 80% five-star reviews, over 90% positive reviews, that the reviews themselves were saying the only time it doesn't work is if you don't use it correctly.
Right.
And given the lack of these nutrients in our diet, and given the abundance in the product, I figured we'd double that period because this way it has a chance to work for everyone. And this is once a year we do savings that's better than buy one, get one free. That's the kind of savings everyone's getting today. So we do it now, and then it doesn't come back in terms of this kind of savings, a special formula, until July of 2019.
Absolutely. So, of course, we are talking about our #1 reorder product. It's our #1 beauty product. What's interesting is HSN had our 24-hour beauty event yesterday before Andrew launched. None of those items, and we had some pretty fantastic items.
You did.
None of them worked from the inside out. And what's interesting is I have spent more on a serum than something that you are spending to help everything look better.
And yeah, Colleen last night was talking about a great moisturizer, one of her favorite products, that is a little bit more expensive than this, and it lasts a couple of months.
Yeah.
But this product lasts not a couple of months. That one capsule a day lasts a couple of years. And the way this works, and oftentimes we're literally forced to spend as much as we do on the outside of our body to make up for what's not taking place on the inside of our body. Our body is a factory, and those factories, we have trillions of cells in our body, all of which have jobs. And our body's cells, one of the jobs they must have is to constantly manufacture new skin, new hair, new nails. That sounds like a really arduous job, and it sounds like a problem almost, but to me, I look at it as an opportunity, because it's the one system in our body that we have an opportunity to transform. All the other systems in our body, we could just generally repair them. We do some damage to them, we're stuck with the consequences of that damage. Our skin, our hairs, our hair, our nails, we really have an opportunity to transform them, to reinvent them. Because over the course of our lifetime, we don't just remake our skin. We remake over 100 pounds of skin over the course of our lifetime. We grow, say if it was a single strand of hair, that's more than 1,000 miles long. So it is an opportunity, but it's only an opportunity if our body has the nutrients required. And the most important nutrient isn't available in the typical multivitamin, isn't readily available in the typical hair, skin, and nail supplement. So what we don't get, and it's not available from our diet, whether it's a healthy diet, unhealthy diet, it doesn't matter. The key nutrient is just not available, and that's biotin. And in our product, that nutrient is available, and it's really almost, according to the science, virtually 100% available. So it's an opportunity to make a difference. And I know I've said that over the 20 years or so I've made this product, and the reviews wouldn't be the reviews that we have. The product is supported by science. I read quotes from the science last night. I could read them again today. This is not something magical that I'm pulling out of thin air. This is something from the science based upon the blueprint we all have, that natural blueprint we all possess. So it's supported by science, and even better, the formula as we've made it, following the science, that formula as we've made it, if you read the reviews, to think about a product that has, I mean, I'm thrilled to go to a restaurant or read a book or see a movie that has a couple of dozen reviews, of which the majority are positive. This is not the majority positive. This is over 90% positive, and that's not a few dozen reviews. It's a few thousand reviews. So it really is an opportunity to take advantage of sort of a broad cross-section of feedback, so you really have an opportunity to make a difference and do it with confidence. And again, not a 30-day money-back guarantee, but 60 days.
That's very exciting. Well,
Yep.
let's just talk about your sizes and your availability. There are a couple of different things going on here. First and foremost, Andrew has been doing this better than anybody else in the world. No one else has a healthy hair, skin, and product like this, although they say imitation is a form of flattery, but no one can really duplicate what he's doing. In fact, we won't duplicate what Andrew is doing after today. As an example, we only do that 720 count size when it's a today's special. Now, what's interesting is when you did this before, it was $99 for 720. So we have never seen this kind of savings. And like Andrew said, it's almost like a buy one, get one free when you consider the effectiveness.
The last time we saw $89.90 for the large size was when it was a 500 count and a 600
Right.
count in many years past.
Yeah.
We've done a 720 count the last several years, lower potency, and $99.90.
Right.
So I said this last night, this might be the last hurrah for this kind of pricing, because biotin is among the most expensive ingredients in any of our products. Yet this product is a little over a dime a capsule in the large size, and only slight couple of pennies more than that in the next to large size. And that large size, even though we do a Today's Special once a year for this, you could skip next year if you're only taking one capsule a day. And mind you, at one capsule per day, our original formula, you're still getting 5 times the potency that you were getting with 2 capsules in the past. So it really is high potency. What I say for the 60-day money-back guarantee, if you've always been a skeptic about products like this, you don't believe you need it, you don't think there's anything that will make a difference. And again, whether it's almost every single human being, as we advance in age from 30 on up, our hair, skin, and nails, they change.
Yeah.
Our hair becomes finer and thinner. Our nails become thinner. They become brittle. They might break off. Our skin has challenges. If you just think there's nothing you could do, or the only thing you can do is to continue to invest on the outside, whether it's with creams or lotions or medicines or things like that, this is not a drug or a medicine, but it supports and promotes the machinery. And I don't use that word lightly. It truly is complex machinery that our body uses to manufacture these complex, extremely well-organized tissues. Our skin is extremely well-organized tissue when it's working well. And so if you want to give your body what it needs, it requires a conscious effort. Even eating the healthiest diet possible doesn't deliver the key nutrient you get here. It will support healthier skin, nails, and hair, but this delivers the raw materials that make a difference. And the reviews wouldn't be what they are.
It's true.
We don't take out the bad reviews. We don't filter the reviews. My family isn't large enough to provide 5,000 positive reviews. So it's an opportunity to see a difference in something that, as a country, we're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars on our hair, skin, and nails, all of it on the outside of our body. The way we eat doesn't favor those tissues at all. The drugs and medicines we take, the lifestyles we have, do not favor those tissues at all. So for a dime or so a day, what is a typical cup of coffee? A typical cup of coffee is a 2 or 3 week supply of this. One of those fancy coffees could be a 5 or 6 week supply of this. So it's so affordable. You have 60 days to see a difference. You have only something to gain, and you have all the science on your side and all the reviews on your side.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be our #1 reorder product. It wouldn't be our #1 beauty product if it didn't deliver. And that's just it, especially with regard to beauty items. I think as consumers, we're critical, whether it be a restaurant or a movie, but I think of beauty items in particular because it's kind of like the show me state. If you're not seeing results, then you obviously don't reorder something. So we are well through a good portion of our inventory. Most of you who are selecting it, including myself, because remember, Andrew only does that 720 count size when it's today's special. Several years past, it wasn't even available in the 720 count size, but as an example, when we did it last year in the 720 count size, it was $10 higher. It was $99. Same thing holds true with the 360. You'd be looking at $69 instead of the $59. Now, of course, you're welcome to choose any of the sizes, but as Andrew indicated, as an added bonus, that 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee. I was joking with him earlier, part of the reason I'm showing off the ladies is because it makes all your skin better. I mean, but it's because because I'm in my mid-50s, and I got to tell you, I'm proud that I think my hair is better in my 50s. I think my nails are better in my 50s. I think my skin is softer and smoother, but you got to be doing the right thing.
No, you have, I mean, literally the skin of someone 20 years younger than you are. I mean, your skin looks great.
Can I get that in writing?
Yes, absolutely.
And post it online?
It's video. You could just get a little piece of this show and post it online.
There you go.
No, but, and I'm older than you are.
Right.
And certainly I'm someone who, I live outdoors in terms of sports every single day.
Yeah.
So it's something that if we want, you know, I'm someone who I really care most about the health of my body.
Of course.
But I think the health of our body translates to the outside of our body. And
for sure.
And it's unavoidable. I have this chart here. It's alarming here. This is sort of the most fascinating chart. If we look at this one, I think the next one too. This chart, these are the best sources of biotin. And mind you, the biotin in all supplements is not the same. The typical multivitamin that you think is complete delivers about 30 micrograms of biotin. My multivitamins deliver 500. Like my original hair, skin, and nails. That's how important biotin is. And it's not just to our hair, skin, and nails. It's involved in thousands of chemical reactions in our body. It's just something that is critical to the health of our heart, the health of our brain. If anything, our hair, skin, and nails are sort of a frightening indication of what's going on with our biotin status. But these are the best sources: chicken liver, beef liver, yeast, mushrooms. But the best sources, you'd be consuming almost 5,000 calories a day of chicken liver, almost 10,000 calories a day of beef liver, almost 10,000 calories a day of yeast, obviously. And that's why when you look at these numbers, you realize that the average person gets about 30 micrograms of biotin today. You're getting less a day. You're getting less than 1% of what we deliver, which is why this product works so universally well, which is why it makes such a difference. And if you wonder to yourself, well, why don't doctors tell us about this? Well, dermatologists will.
They will.
If you go there with issues with your hair, skin, and nails, a dermatologist will. But doctors don't, because it's not something that's involved in sort of pathology. It's not something involved in sort of a disease process. Even though to me, and if you read the science, and I have quotes here talking about now recognized sort of this marginal deficiency that's now being recognized with biotin, that an indication is the condition of our hair, skin, and nails. But it goes deeper than that, and it affects the functioning of other tissues and organs in our body, including our heart, including our brain. But if you look at, say, foods that are typically thought of as the best sources of biotin, sort of healthy foods that are thought of the best sources of biotin, things like salmon, halibut, strawberries, peanuts, broccoli, things we think of are great sources of biotin, they are not. So we just looked at the best sources. Now we're looking at sources that typically we think would be the best. And as you see, there are hundreds of thousands. I have another chart where these healthy foods, like walnuts and things like that, require millions of calories to achieve what you get in one day. And that's the unfortunate fact of life about biotin. We talk about this with vitamin D as well. Vitamin D is not available in our diet. As we get older, we don't really synthesize it with exposure from sunlight. Plus, we use sunscreen, so that sunlight doesn't create vitamin D. So there are certain things that no matter how well we eat, when it comes to omega-3s, you could always eat cold water fish every day, and you're good, but we don't. So there are certain things that no matter how well we eat, like biotin, it's not going to be available from your diet unless you're consuming 5,000 calories of beef liver or chicken liver every day. And if you do that, I'd recommend you have a very close relationship with your cardiologist, because you're going to need to see that person very soon. But it's just not healthy. The levels of iron you get, the levels of cholesterol you get eating that are just not healthy. So bottom line, typical person on the high side, 50 micrograms a day is what we might get, but typically more like 25 or 30 versus the 5,000 you're getting in today's special formula of healthy hair, skin, and nails.
Unbelievable. And one of the things that Andrew said, you know, when we were talking about the foods is, guys, if you're watching today, you're not exempt either. And that's the other thing that's so fantastic about this is regardless of your age, your ethnicity, your skin aging issues. I think for a lot of women in particular, it's interesting because there's been a lot of press lately how there's, I think, this new awareness of women as we get older, when our hair is not our crown and glory anymore, it really does affect us on a fundamental level. And it's interesting when I say that, because when Andrew first started doing this product, vanity has always prevailed for me, and I think those of us as show hosts who have always, we've even said we will find you if you stop making this product. But the reality is there is something to be said about the good health of our lives when your self-esteem is boosted. So look at it this way. If you look at the pricing chart for just a moment, and I have natural nails, I do not have gels, I do not have acrylics. I get polish changes. My flex pay, that flex pay is what I spend just to get the polish changed on my nails, let alone what you spend on gels or acrylics or even a good shampoo, how much you spend on a serum. And the other thing that you mentioned too, Andrew, is that's why I said I'm showing off the skin today, because it not only helps my other products work better, it's helping more than just the good health, you know, of your hair, of your skin, of your nails. For me, I find that my skin is softer. I feel that my skin is smoother. You know, even though I had a stressful year, I feel like my hair is still healthier and thicker and more vibrant. The only caveat is to that, I have to have my hair colored more often, because it ain't natural.
That's not your natural
Yeah,
color.
I know. Because I honestly used to be able to go between 5 and 6 weeks between hair appointments, and no kidding, at 2 and 3 weeks now, my stylist is like, you know, you can see your roots, which it's a good problem to have. But I figure it this way. You're spending money on your hair, your skin, and your nails anyway. This is really the only way to build better hair, skin, and nails from the inside out. And certainly, we have never seen savings like this. We wait for this once a year, but this is a real tribute to what you do to your fans.
And well, it's a product that has evolved also.
Yeah.
How many products do you know that over the 20 years it's been in existence has continued to evolve?
True.
And this is probably about I'd say the 20th version. Almost every year we evolve the formula. The potency has gone from 500 micrograms up to currently 5,000 micrograms of biotin. Originally, the formula had no MSM in it. It now has significant levels of MSM, methyl sulfonyl So it's a formula that's only continued to evolve to deliver the best results, which is why the reviews continue to improve. It's a product that has almost 80% five-star reviews, over 90% positive reviews. I'll read some of the reviews here, then I'll read some of the science, but it is inescapable, the role that biotin plays. Also, the science talks about the deficiency of biotin that we are all experiencing. So as a society that we're experiencing, that really goes unrecognized because it's sort of a subtle deficiency that if you're not really focused on hair, skin, and nails, you really are not observing a specific pathology. But I think that hair, skin, and nail impact is something that's letting us know about deeper things going on within our body. So I think it's important we deliver the levels of this critical nutrient, and I'll talk about that science in a second, but I just wanted to read some of the reviews. We have a couple of hundred, at least several hundred reviews here. I just went to the middle of the stack and grabbed a bunch here. So I'll just read, there are 10 of them here. It says, amazing. I will admit that I'm a skeptic when it comes to a product that claims to help hair, skin, and nails. However, I've changed my tune after using this product. I've tried numerous hair products, and some of them quite expensive, that promise to improve one's hair. I noticed a huge difference after a couple of weeks taking these capsules. Been taking these for years. I get compliments all the time on my hair and nails. And although I've always had quite a bit of hair, generally, as we get older, it thins considerably. That's normal. It happens to all of us.
Of course.
We generally think there's nothing we could do. I still have enough hair that my stylist has to mix a second bowl of hair color every time she colors my hair because she underestimates how much she's going to need.
Yeah.
Although I love the look of acrylic nails, I don't like the upkeep or expense involved, and since I take this, I can grow my own. No, they aren't as bright, white, and shiny as fake nails are unless I keep them polished, but they're my own and they are beautiful and healthy. When I go to the salon to get my pedicure, the nail techs always ask if they are real and are surprised at how great they look. So whether it's fingernails, toenails, I mean, I think the expense of getting, I'm not sure, getting acrylics or porcelains or things put on, it could be as much as a 2-year supply of this. Easily.
Easy.
Tried and true. I used this product about a year ago and had great results with my thinning hair and soft nails. And these are normal conditions as we get older. Our nails get thinner, our hair gets thinner, they break off more readily, they don't grow out as well. And my skin glowed even more than usual. Then I ran out and never reordered. I actually gave my sister the 100 capsule bottle for her birthday. She just started using these, but I ordered the 500 capsule bottle during Mr. Lessman's recent sale. That's normally our largest size.
Right, exactly.
And noticed results in less than 2 weeks.
Nice.
My manicurist wants to know why my nails are growing so fast. My hair feels thicker and looks shinier, and my skin looks even smoother. This is a great product that I'll never let myself run out of again. Try it. It works. And again, if you use it as directed, 1 or 2 capsules daily, and especially if you're trying it for the first time, start with 2 capsules daily.
Sure. Good point.
I'm confident it's going to work for everyone.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I purchased this product because I color my hair, and it frays easily because of the bleach, and it grows very slowly. I'm a senior citizen, so my hair is thinned with age as well. After a couple of months on this product, I noticed my hair was growing so much faster, and as time went on, it was fuller as well. I stopped taking the product, and wow, I am so sorry I did. My hair is again fragile, thinning, and lifeless as well as not growing very fast. I am placing another order today to get back on track. By next summer, I'll have quite a head of hair again, and I'm so glad I found this product some time ago. I love the quality of these reviews. They're so well written. Fixed my grandmother's hair, my granddaughter's hair. My granddaughter had the bright idea to bleach her hair, which is very thin and fragile. So we had a few reviews from seniors, and now we have a review from someone young. Of course, it was a huge mess, and most of it broke off. I bought her a bottle of this a couple of years ago, and now her hair is to her waist, thick, shiny, and healthy. She has me reorder it every time she runs out.
That's nice.
Recommended for all the guys.
See?
I've been taking the supplement along with circulation vein support since May 2013. I continue to have good results. My fiance complained about a sudden bout of hair falling out. I insisted he begin taking your healthy hair, skin, and nails. Seeing is believing. Within 5 days, I noticed a visible difference. His complexion was glowing with more color, and there was a clearness to his eyes. He is a very finicky eater. It was obvious he was getting the nutritional support his body needed. Best product that delivers. I am very particular about what I put in my body, and Andrew's vitamins do as they say. By the way, 100% pure, 100% free of additives. When I take these vitamins, my skin becomes soft and glowing that my teenage daughter cannot believe her mom is over 50. When I run out of these vitamins, my nails become brittle and my hair becomes dry. Read this over and over and over. Love it. I tried other vitamins with higher biotin, and it did nothing for me. That's what you hear over and over.
Right.
That you have to deliver biotin correctly or it's not going to deliver.
Sure.
There's something about the Andrew Lessman vitamins that really works for me. I will never stop taking these. They are the only ones that make my skin beautiful and my hair and nails grow like crazy.
Nice.
Love this from Tanya, New Jersey. Just a couple more. Perfect blend. I use this product faithfully and have raved about it so much. Many of my friends now take the product also. There are so many Johnny-come-latelys to the hair, skin, and nails formula revolution, but Andrew has faithfully produced this for years, actually a couple of decades.
Yeah.
As always, ahead of the others, I love the fact that I'm supporting an ethical company and a man that I absolutely trust to use quality ingredients to provide exactly what he says he is providing, is passionate about his company and his reputation, and best of all, it is made in the USA, which is not always the case. Yes, made in the USA.
Well said.
100% with solar energy.
Well said.
And for every bottle that you order, we donate 3 bottles of prenatal vitamins. I was just told that we are approaching close to 1 billion prenatal vitamins donated. 1 billion with a B.
Oh, Andrew.
So that's something that
That's cool.
that I'm very proud of as well. So I think it all goes together. If we're going to be putting a quality product in a bottle that respects you, we should also be a company that respects the environment, that also respects our society. So we make sure that we cover all of those things, because you can't really go about doing what we do in good conscience if you're not paying attention to all of those issues. And as a company, we do. I just wish the big companies out there paid the same attention, because we're a little company, but the big companies can make a huge mark if they if they basically conducted themselves as responsibly as we do,
Well,
we try to.
I mean, that's important, though. I mean, because you should feel good about what you put in your body, and you certainly deserve a paycheck. You deserve bang for your buck, and there wouldn't be thousands of perfect reviews if this didn't make a significant impact. And what I love when Andrew reads the reviews, well, you could see it runs the breadth of people in their 50s, their 60s, teenagers, I mean, men, women, the list goes on. And I always feel like things in life are guided for a reason. You're watching this show for a reason. And maybe you're frustrated that you haven't been able to grow your hair out. Maybe you're frustrated that you're still wearing acrylic or gel nails. Maybe you feel like your skin could be softer. So whatever products you're using right now, this can only help make better results, because no matter what serum or cream or nail product, that's why I referenced that beauty event that we had the other day right before Andrew launched this. It was filled with fantastic beauty products. Every single one of them was after the fact. This is going to the source of that factory. And not only that, going to the source of that factory at a price that he will not duplicate. And, you know, it's hard to measure this in terms of price just because no one makes a product like this. But if we just take value into consideration for a moment, this is the day to do it, and especially since this is the first time outside of our, you know, when we do our extended holiday return policy, where we can say you have a 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee. And I think that's pretty fantastic. So if you are skeptical, if you are critical, if you have tried others, moreover, most of us of that close to 30,000 mark are reorders. And you know very well, especially when it comes to a beauty product, you're not going to reorder something unless you are seeing a difference. And chances are people in your life are commenting too. And then, of course, savings that we will not see duplicated again.
And what's interesting, my company, we don't have an advertising budget. We don't advertise.
Right. No, that's true.
But products like this, circulation vein support, or omega-3s, they continue to grow. They're the database of individuals ordering the product online, because they're not seeing the shows, but online, continues to grow. And that's because of word of mouth. I mean, that's always what's fueled my company, because unlike big companies, we didn't have an advertising budget at all. So, and I think that's the ultimate testimony for a product, is when you're encouraging others. And typically when you see something that has a volume of reviews like this, usually reviews tend to be more likely negative, that you're warning someone else. But the reason why, and I'm often asked, why do you attribute that all of your products have, I think we're approaching 80,000 total reviews at hsn.com for all the products. Wow. And the reason why is, I think, and they're over, I think they're about 85% 5-star reviews, averaging about 4.6 stars. The reason why we have surprisingly large amounts of reviews is, I think people are sharing their experience because they're surprised. Most people expect a supplement not to work. They expect to be disappointed. They expect it to be hard to swallow. They expect to have an upset stomach. They don't expect it to work. They don't expect it to be a good experience. So I think when you have, reading those reviews a moment ago, when you have those kinds of passionate reviews, I think that passion comes from basically being surprised and sharing that surprise with others, that it's an opportunity that we could take. I was just going to read, I have a number of charts that I didn't get to that really cover just some of the science on biotin. And as the prior review said, biotin has to be delivered properly. I have dozens of reviews here that say they tried higher levels of biotin, they tried different biotin, and it didn't work like this. And that's because it needs to be delivered correctly, and that's what we do. So just, and I don't mean to bore everyone, but the science is really what underpins, what is the foundation for the basis of this product. Yes, the reviews are compelling, and they're great proof of how effective it is, but the science is the reason why it exists. The science is the reason how it was designed.
So if we go here, something about that though, real quickly, Andrew, not to digress too much, but how much biotin did you have in the original formulation? 500. 500, and how much do you have now?
And that worked.
And it worked.
But we do 5,000 because, again, when you read the research, and I think I have some quotes here, the basic dose for biotin in the research to get a benefit, even from folks who think their hair, skin, and nails are perfect, you'll see a benefit in people when you give them typically more than 1,000. Typically, you have to get to 2,000 or 2,500.
Right.
And there's no recorded instances of biotin toxicity, so you don't have to worry about that at all with this product. It's readily available. It's not going to be toxic or problematic. So it's just an ingredient that delivers when it's delivered correctly. And we do not, as I showed from the chart before, we do not get it in our diet. That's the problem. If we could, I do what I do and I talk about omega-3s. Eat cold water fish every day.
Yeah.
If you do that, you could throw away your omega-3s. You don't need them. Typically in America, we don't do this. If I was on TV in Japan, speaking about omega-3s, it wouldn't be as compelling a discussion because most Japanese folks eat fish at a level of 10 times more than us, perhaps more than that even. So we eat a couple of pounds. I think they eat dozens of pounds a month of fish. So a tremendous difference in cold water fish intake, but no matter how we eat, you're not getting biotin.
So because you're following the science, you didn't have to go from 500 to 5,000, but you follow.
And I might have quotes from some of the science here. That was the reason why we increased the potency.
See?
So even though it's 10 times more potent today, it's less expensive per capsule today. It's the lowest price it's ever been per capsule, and it's the highest potency it's ever been. And you get a 60-day money-back guarantee. So taking 2 capsules a day or 1 capsule a day for 60 days, you will see a difference. And if you use it correctly, you don't forget the days, you will see a difference. But let's read some of the science. And this is from Journal of Drugs and Dermatology. These are all from serious medical or scientific journals. Biotin is a water-soluble B-complex vitamin that has been shown to alter gene expression. Gene expression, that's what our hair, skin, and nails are. That's an expression of our genes. That's why we're all different. Our biochemistry is the same. The way those genes express themselves are all different. Biotin can affect the expression of 2,000 genes. That's not an easily forgotten little afterthought of a vitamin. That's a serious vitamin. Biotin is required for the cellular metabolism of glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids. It's the integration of all that work with proteins and lipids that gives rise to the tissues we rely on for our appearance. Journal of Drugs and Dermatology, the recommended allowance of biotin in adults is 30 micrograms daily. That is the minimum level necessary to avoid an obvious pathology, like a disease state. It's insufficient to make a difference in our hair, skin, and nails. It's insufficient to have healthy appearing, beautiful hair, skin, and nails. Just plain insufficient. That's what you see in a typical multivitamin. Not in mine. Mine I give 500.
Right.
Today we get 5,000. Unlike the biotin present in foodstuffs, which is largely protein-bound, it's kind of trapped in protein and incompletely absorbed, pharmaceutical preparations of biotin possess 100% bioavailability. So you don't have to worry about whether your body can use this.
Well,
Plus,
I would imagine, too, like if I'm under stress, if my diet has been compromised, if I'm not sleeping well.
if you're taking drugs, medications, there's all sorts of challenges to the growth of our hair, skin, and nails.
Sure.
And I just want to open, the capsule's tiny. And as I open it, you'll see why our product is so available.
Nice.
It's not a rock-hard tablet that slams those ingredients into something that's disrespecting your swallowing and your upset, causing upset stomachs.
Nice.
It's an ultra-fine powder that's immediately available to your body. So it goes to work delivering not just biotin, but 15 other ingredients that work with biotin to deliver the results you want. But as we continue on these charts, this is from another journal, Expert Review of Endocrinology and Metabolism. The importance of biotin for human health has been underappreciated for many years. Evidence has been provided that marginal biotin deficiency might be more common than widely believed. I believe it's almost universal, a marginal deficiency of biotin. Therefore, biotin homeostasis, that's biotin balance, is crucial for maintaining normal body functions, in particular in the heart, muscle, and brain. So they're not focused on dermatology and beauty here. They're focused on the health of our heart and our brain, and they're discussing the importance of biotin. The Journal of Investigative Dermatology, the incidence of biotin deficiency has been increasingly reported in recent years. Owing to its central role in these important cellular functions, severe biotin deficiency can be manifested as a wide range of clinical abnormalities, including neurologic disorders, growth retardation, and skin abnormalities. In our society, severe biotin deficiency is rare, but I think marginal deficiency, as I said, is almost universal. Deficiency of biotin in mammals during pregnancy, a critical period of growth, has been shown to lead to embryonic growth retardation, congenital malformation, and death. That's why it's a critical part of any prenatal vitamin. clinics and dermatology. A role for biotin in nail disorders is also indicated by its favorable effect on other skin disorders such as seborrheic dermatitis and disorders of hair growth. Biotin's not a drug or a treatment for these disorders, but biotin is necessary for healthy skin growth. So whether you have perfectly healthy skin that's just aging, or whether you have dry skin, or whether you have challenges with your skin, biotin is central to the role of skin in any condition. One nutritional supplement that has been seriously investigated and has recently shown promise is biotin, or vitamin H. It's called vitamin H for short.
I know.
Although this structure can be easily overlooked, nail disorders comprise approximately 10% of all dermatologic conditions, meaning folks complaining to dermatologists, more than 10% of those complaints would be dry, brittle, cracked nails and other issues. Or toenails, fingernails. Brittle fingernails are an all too common complaint seen in the dermatologist's office. And you can make a difference because brittle nails, if they're grown healthy and fats and lipids are better integrated, the nails are less brittle. And that's what biotin does. As many as 60 million people in the United States, it's in the US alone, may experience this disorder, with women predominantly affected. Brittle, from Cutis Dermatologist Journal, brittle nails affect 20 to 30% of the population, but as yet no consistently satisfactory treatment has been found. Yes, there is. It's simple nutrition, not a treatment, but it just gives your body needs to create these tissues in the first place. A recent study from Switzerland demonstrated a 25% increase in nail plate thickness, and that's an enormous change, in patients with brittle nails who received biotin supplementation. Nail brittleness, Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology. Nail brittleness is a common complaint affecting up to 30% of women over 50 years of age. And I have similar charts talking about thickness of hair, fineness of hair in the same fashion. Several studies have demonstrated clinical improvement in patients who received biotin supplementation. Archives of Dermatological Research. We have about 15 journals here. In humans and in animals, biotin deficiency causes pathological changes in the skin and its appendages. High doses of biotin may also have beneficial effects on skin, hair, and fingernails in humans and animals with otherwise normal status. So you could have perfect biotin status. You deliver higher levels, or think you do. You deliver these pharmacological levels. It makes a difference. Biotin can be useful because it may improve the synthesis of the lipid molecules that produce binding between nail plate and keratinocytes. Vitamin H, biotin, stimulates cell renewal and improves both the strength and the growth of the nail and reduces moisture loss. And again, we're focusing on nails here. I have the same kinds of charts focusing on hair and focusing on the skin because they're all the same system. Specialized tissues are the same system. In addition, pharmacological doses of biotin have been shown to improve the hoof quality of horses, cattle, and pigs, and the quality of nails and hair in humans in the absence of apparent biotin deficiency. I had a friend whose horse was having severe issues with their hooves, and the veterinarian basically was saying it was kind of hopeless. And by providing high levels of biotin, completely went away. So, and veterinarians know this. One study demonstrated a 25% increase in the thickness of the nail plate in patients diagnosed with brittle nails of unknown cause and treated with biotin at 2.5 milligrams daily. That's 2,500 micrograms. That's what you get in one capsule for 6 to 15 months. So we give you the dose, and that's among the studies that had us increase the potency. Pharmacological doses of biotin have been shown to improve the quality of nails and hair in humans in the absence of apparent biotin deficiency. And that's what I mean. We all are suffering, I believe, from marginal deficiency, not severe deficiency, but that marginal deficiency might not have an impact on our apparent health, but it does have an impact on the quality of our hair, skin, and nails. Likewise, pantothenic acid and its derivatives are beneficial in the maintenance of healthy skin and for cellular wound healing processes. And of course, we also have pantothenic acid in this product.
Absolutely. Well, you can see, or you saw just momentarily, moments ago, we are now over that 30,000 mark. Remember, Andrew is not here very often anymore. He has only one more show tonight, and this is the day that we wait for. He has now added that 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee on our finest value of the day, and I'm excited for you. I really am. I think I have probably recommended our today's special or this product to maybe more people that I've encountered, men on the street or otherwise, when people always ask me, A, where do I start with HSN, and B, what product should I try? You're looking at the #1 that I recommend, and I'm not the only one, because it is our #1 reorder product. It is our #1 beauty product. And you think of the thousands, the countless thousands of products that we sell, beauty or otherwise, here at HSN, it's making a difference. And that's why there are over 4,000 perfect reviews, over 4,200 perfect 5-star reviews. So remember, this is a day that we wait for, and even that once a day celebration that Andrew does in our birthday month, when we wait for healthy hair, skin, and nails, he has never done anything quite like this, not only with that 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee, but with more biotin than ever before. It's like a little mini multivitamin, you know, on everything else.
And you could find biotin at, you could find 2,000, 4,000, 5,000 microgram biotin tablets, typically tablets, where it's that, you know, some of those tablets are 99% additives, where that tablet is bound, where the biotin is bound up in a tablet. It's a prisoner in that tablet. Biotin needs to be freely available and soluble to benefit you. The only thing that tablet presents is an obstacle to your benefits. And as the charts discussed, that biotin, as critical as it is, as much as it is that weak link in the chain, there still is a chain, and you need the other components of that chain. Those biotin products do not deliver it, which is why when you read the reviews, people will say, I don't know why, but Andrew's works with the higher levels of biotin for other products did not. The reason why mine does is because we deliver all of the other components. We delivered biotin in its proper form, freely bioavailable, with all the other components necessary to support its comprehensive mode of action. And others don't do that. So if you want a product that works, and it's a double the money-back guarantee, a 60-day money-back guarantee, and mind you, with a 60-day money-back guarantee, we know the returns won't go up. If anything, the returns will go down. And that's the history of how my products work. The more time you have to experience how they work, and if you take it as directed, 1 capsule per day, ideally, if you really want to prove it, 2 capsules per day to start with, and then go to 1 capsule per day afterwards. You will see a difference. I'm confident that this product can, when used properly, work for everyone.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing I was just going to say, as a matter of fact, can work for everyone. Every single person within the sound of our voice, male, female, young, old, you know, skin tone, skin color, doesn't matter. You know, aging issue, it can help you. I mean, that's really exciting when you think about it, isn't it?
And we're all aging. I mean, I've always had a full head of hair, but it's not exactly the same as it was when I was 25, right. 20 years old, 30 years old. It changes. We can only do, as it said, the ingredients when it's speaking about biotin, it affects the expression of over 2,000 genes. We all share identical biochemistry. What we don't share is how those genes then express. So each of our genes express themselves differently, thinner hair, thicker hair. But if you want to express your genes optimally, you need the correct machinery. And that's all this is. And this is not my invention. I'm just really religious about following the science. And that's why when we originally introduced 500 micrograms of biotin, I did that in good faith based on the science, but that science was 22 years ago. The benefit of 22 years of experience has changed my product. We added MSM to it. We added pantothenic acid to it. We just changed the formula to respect the science because I want a product that has over 90% positive reviews, and the only way you do that is by constantly and continuously improving it. And I love reading the reviews that say, I tried someone else's, it didn't work. And I wish there were other folks who, in good faith, tried to make a perfect product. That's what I try to do. That's why it's always improved. It's incredibly costly to trash all of your science and start with a new product. That's why other companies never do that. They change their product marginally every decade. I change my product significantly. If the science warrants it, I'll change it every 6 months if the science warrants it. And that's why this product has evolved so well, and that's why the reviews have only improved over the time.
Absolutely, because I've known Andrew for over 20 years, and I can tell, because it was more expensive 20 years ago. And I don't care what I had to beg, borrow, and steal. I was buying it 20 years ago, regardless of the price, and it didn't have the levels of biotin that it does now.
It was the it was the best it could be at the
Right,
time.
of course.
And it's only continued to improve. And then if we're smart enough to add a healthy diet to it, a good source of omega-3s in our diet or a good source of omega-3s from supplements, things like that, all we do is get to experience even greater results. But bottom line, if you want to talk foundational, just foundational nutrition for our hair, for our skin and our nails, and it's nonsense if someone tells you need 3 supplements. The integumentary system, our hair, skin, and nails, one system. It's like telling someone they need a separate supplement for each, say, each chamber of their heart or each part of their brain. This is one system where the hair, the skin, the nails are all just specialized tissues, specialized components of the very same system. And as I said before, it's sort of the problem child of systems in our body. But it's a problem child because it's the largest system in our body by far, the integumentary system, our hair, skin, and nails. It's more volume, more mass than even our nervous system or our cardiovascular system or our circulatory system. So it's this enormous system. All those other systems, our body has the hard work of maintaining them. Our body also has the hard work of maintaining our hair, skin, and nails. It's on the outside of our body, so it's not protected. It has to play the role of the barrier to the outside world. Even worse, that system never stops growing. It's growing constantly, which I like to say, it sounds like a huge burden to be growing over 100 pounds of skin over the course of our lifetime and 1,000 miles or so of hair. That's a lot of work, but at the same time, it's the only system that gives us an opportunity to what? Reinvent itself. You truly can reinvent your skin. If we've ever had health problems or took certain medications that caused us to lose our hair or transform our skin, we know that when we transform our diet or remove that influence, our body can reinvent itself, at least insofar as these tissues are concerned. And that's what this product provides, an opportunity to fuel that system of constant growth and really constant opportunity for change.
Absolutely. I really do need to get this for my mom because, and again, this is not, you know, a cure or a treatment for anything, but my mom does have to take a lot of medications. And as we've all grown up throughout the years, she has really seen her hair change as a result. And again, it's not a cure or treatment for anything, but I just feel like if there's someone in your life who is maybe having some particular challenges, and you know, certainly time would not permit us to read all the great reviews, but we hear that a lot from people who have tried this product.
And of course, and this is a product that you don't have to worry about its interaction with drugs or medicines or things like that. But, and certainly there are certain treatments that we know come with them in interference with this constant growth potential. And certainly this is not something that has anything to do with cancer or cancer treatment or things, but when you're taking chemotherapeutic agents, what those tend to do is they tend to attack the tissues in our body that are capable of the most rapid cell growth and reproduction. Of course, our hair, skin, and nails grow constantly. That's where they affect. So this is a product that supports those tissues. And of course, if you're going to think of using it during that time period, you talk to your doctor first. But understanding the role that these tissues play in our body and these tissues play in how we feel about ourselves, these constantly reproducing tissues. If you're taking even more innocuous medicines on a daily basis, whether it could be things like, which many people have to take all the time for inflammation or things like that, things like prednisone or things, that we have to be aware how those drugs and medicines influence these systems that are constantly reproducing tissues, hair, skin, and nails in our body. And if those medicines have an impact on those systems, they have an impact on the appearance of those tissues. So again, you could show this to your doctor. It's nothing more than the nutrients your body requires for those same systems that can be influenced by health conditions, influenced by medications we're taking, influenced by our diet, influenced, as Shannon said before, by stress, by alcohol intake, by smoking cigarettes, a multitude of things, because again, it's like tree rings in trees. The climatologists and botanists now, they could look at tree rings in trees and they could basically tell you the climate 1,500, 2,000 years ago. Our hair, skin, and nails, it's giving insight into what's going on in our body. It's like those tree rings. So why not make sure that the message we're leaving or giving to the outside world is a good one? all of the most popular, all of the normal things we do for our hair, skin, and nails is treating dead tissue outside of our body. The only opportunity we have to make a difference in those tissues, in their appearance, in their quality, their structure, their nature, is on the inside of our body, and this is the foundational supplement that does that.
Absolutely, and I'm so excited for you to try it. And you know what's so interesting? I get so excited about the science and the reviews. I forgot to talk about the value, and that is part of my job. So at this juncture, I will let you know, we'll do an abbreviated look at our today's special at the end of this second hour, so just kind of, you know, fair warning for you there. It is because Andrew and his team are trying to monitor and manage the available quantities for the evening. So you just pick your size of choice. And then remember, of course, that 720 is only here today. So the best savings that we have ever offered here at HSN, or that we will see. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm having trouble here. Oh, okay. we're just going to move. I was wondering why they. I'm sure my crew was enamored with me showing off my healthy hair, skin, and nails. I'm like, gosh, okay, where do I go now? Guys, should I move? See, this is what I love, Andrew, when people ask me.
We're trying to figure out what we're doing with.
So you're getting your steps in. You know, it's so funny when you must get the question too. It's like, is that live? Right? And
oh no, it's live. Even my own
yes.
friends think I'm reading off a teleprompter.
Oh, I know, right?
that it's scripted. In fact, I've ever since when I first was on QVC and here at HSN, doing it for almost 30 years, I insisted that we wouldn't prep or talk about the show. That it should be a live interaction between us. That if you have questions for me, don't ask them to be before the show. Ask those questions here, because your questions are generally the same questions that folks have at home.
Oh,
so I want it to be, I love the fact that it's live, and I love that we'll do things on Facebook Live, so it's a chance for me to answer all the questions.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Why is your hair not affected by the humidity?
Why is my hair not affected? Because it's a wig. I wear a special wig.
Which, by the way, that is one of the, isn't that crazy? That's one of the questions that people actually legitimately ask, which is nuts.
I really don't tend to notice it, but my hair, when I'm here versus when I'm in Nevada, where our factory is, versus in the summer, I like to run trails and mountain bike and things, and I tend to spend time in Colorado at altitude, which is dry. So my hair is different. I'm not sure
you manage
if anybody,
it better than I do.
But I suspect if you looked at our live shows from the factory, you'll notice that my hair is different there versus here.
Sure.
So yeah.
Okay.
So it does, but I think I'm one of those guys who I often have to be reminded to brush my hair before I come out here. That I'm pretty bad when it comes to those sorts of things.
You've been pretty good though lately, I will say.
I've been pretty responsible, yes.
You have.
Yes.
Speaking of being responsible, this is something you did for your viewers, because this was that little kind of surprise today's special. It sold out so early. How did you even make this happen? Because we're talking, of course, about phytoceramides, and I'll let Andrew kind of reveal all the details. We can't have a lot of these, I'm assuming.
We don't. And this we made it a today's special too, sort of in the background, because in June, when we had the special intro to our beauty event a few weeks ago, this was our today's special, and it disappeared in a fraction of the time expected.
I know.
So I said if we were able to get some more in, we'd bring it back in July, and so it's back in July. What phytoceramides are, what ceramides are, there's a system in our body I was talking about before when we talked about healthy hair, skin, and nails. Our skin is an incredibly complex organization of tissues, from circulatory tissues to nervous system. The nervous system is integrated into our skin, to a system that protects us for loss of moisture. We are 80+% moisture, water, as an organism, as a human being. Our survival is dependent on our skin keeping that moisture in. So there's an unbelievably complex structure to our skin that helps us retain the moisture in our body. And the system that does so, and it's very easy to understand, oil and water, lipids and water don't mix. It's that property that allows our skin to be sort of that water membrane around us. And certainly fatty acids, omega-3 fatty acids, critically important. We have our monthly special for our essential omega-3. and certainly cholesterol. We don't need to supplement that. Cholesterol is another molecule that our body uses, a waxy molecule, to retain moisture. But the part of our skin that's really predominant in terms of its role, it's the predominant molecule in terms of the role of water retention in our body and therefore in our skin, that's ceramides. So phytoceramides are plant-derived ceramides. And the research, the science has shown when you deliver the ceramides we deliver here, they're well absorbed and they're delivered to your body where they deliver their work. So again, ceramides are something that as we get older, the concentration of our skin goes down. Ceramides, I haven't seen any science that says ceramides can be delivered topically. Yes, if you put them on the outside of your body, you could open this capsule and you put it on your skin.
Right.
They feel great. And that's a wonderful emollient characteristic. They feel great, but the ceramides are large molecules. These sphingolipids, as they're called, can't penetrate the skin to go to the stratum corneum where they're doing that water preservation role. Because that's truly what moisturizing is. And if you think you can have moist skin without adequately hydrating yourself, you're mistaken. If you ever spent time, I said this last night, in a hospital, and saw patients that were suffering from dehydration, and you looked at their skin, you would never want to be dehydrated. You want to be constantly hydrated. The first step in moist skin is adequately hydrating ourselves. And of course, as we get older, because we don't particularly care for how our bladder functions, and urgency issues, whatever it might be, in both men and women, we tend to drink less fluids. And therefore, we're not doing any service to the moisturizing of our skin. So first, we want to hydrate internally. Second, if we deliver the essential fats in our diet, eat a diet rich in things like avocado and nuts and seeds and oily fish. And then ceramides. Ceramides are the key molecule to deliver the benefits that our skin must deliver in terms of its barrier function. We think of our skin as what we see on the outside. Our skin is truly there to protect us from the outside world. Most importantly, to protect us from losing the moisture that sustains us as an organism.
So I don't know how much time we'll have for the science or the reviews, but we have a, okay.
No science. No science.
No science for you.
No science for you.
No reviews for you.
Yes. What is it? If you don't eat your meat, you're not going to get a kiss. You know, no.
Good grief.
Yes.
Pink Floyd.
Pink
All
Floyd,
right.
yes.
30, 60, 120, or 240. And I know we didn't have time to get through a lot of the supporting materials, but whether it is your skin, your eyes, I mean, this is giving you that beautiful, buoyant, radiant skin from the inside out. And for me, I have noticed a significant difference, most notably in my hands, because my hands used to get really dry. I use a lot of hand sanitizer, and I'm a little obsessive about washing my hands. So I know you hear both myself and Colleen and Bobby and Adam, all of us who love and work with Andrew, we really are his biggest crusaders and advocates of this line. So if you did miss out when it was offered as a Today's Special a couple of weeks ago, I believe the story is Andrew actually had to go to France. You know, I'm kind of, was that true? Sorry.
I wish I had to go to France
okay, well.
to pick it up. But that's where this comes from. Just as with our marine collagen peptides, the best collagen peptides in the world, the best science, the best history, over 100 years of history, come from Japan. The best phytoceramides in the world come from France, where the science is. And you know, we struggled, truth be told, in June.
I know.
We totally unexpected. We reduced the time and it was gone basically by noon. So that's why we brought a small amount back in, so we have a few capsules remaining.
A very small amount. So definitely take advantage of it. Shall we stroll?
Let's stroll.
Let's do it. And remember, you will see an abbreviated look at our Today's Special at the end of this hour. I know we're trying to...
We went a little longer than expected at the top, and we're way ahead of ourselves. We just got carried away. We're way ahead of ourselves, so we'll abbreviate it at the end of the second hour, and then we'll do as much as we can this evening until we run out.
Absolutely. So. Actually, I had someone on Facebook asking me about this product recently. Did you bring this back by popular demand?
It's a product that we have not spent. Last night we were supposed to, but we fell behind and we didn't talk about it for more than a minute or two. We just have a few minutes to talk about it now. What's unique about our approach to glucosamine and chondroitin, most companies are busy making all kinds of medical or drug claims for their glucosamine and chondroitin. What we simply do is we follow the strongest science, and really the only science. And the science on glucosamine and chondroitin is that you have to use the sulfate form, whereas most products on the market use the hydrochloride form. And there's two reasons for it. One simply is that the hydrochloride form costs a lot less. The other is because when you talk about the weight of what you deliver 1,500 milligrams of total glucosamine sulfate or glucosamine hydrochloride, and the hydrochloride molecule weighs less. So you get away delivering less weight when you're delivering the 1,500 milligrams of glucosamine. It's less glucosamine hydrochloride. It's more weight of glucosamine sulfate because of that sulfate moiety. So bottom line is you save even more as a manufacturer. So there's a tremendous cost incentive for a manufacturer to use the wrong form, to use the form that not only does the science not talk about, but the science actually talks about it negatively. The science actually says the sulfate form is the form we want to be using. And unfortunately, again, it's the way you see it with omega-3s, that the ethyl ester form is the cheaper form, so you see ethyl esters. That's a synthetic form. The natural triglyceride form that you see in fish, which is what we use, that's the proper form. So it's very easy as a manufacturer to get caught in the trap of using a form that the science doesn't focus on, because I think most manufacturers, they're manufacturers. They don't focus on the science. And most supplements that you see aren't made by the company that's talking about the supplements. We make all of these products. So we're responsible for the science on the products. Most supplements are manufactured by what's called contract manufacturers, co-packers. They just manufacture. They manufacture for other companies that then sell it. So there's sort of a, I think I always say like a conspiracy of silence or a conspiracy of ignorance that they don't really have to be responsible for what they're making. I think the most popular brands of supplements in America aren't a brand of a company that's making them. They're brands that are in retail stores that have the brand of the retailer, whether it's going to be, I don't know, Walmart or Target or Costco or Walgreens or whatever they are. They're brands that are made, and those companies don't make supplements, but they go out to contract manufacturers to make supplements for them. So it's very different, I believe, when I'm responsible for making this product, I'm responsible for the science of the product, and more than anything, I'm responsible for communicating that science to you. So if you're going to go to a store, you don't have to get mine. If you're going to go to a store and get glucosamine, make sure it's glucosamine sulfate.